Swift, and this is my channel all about our lovable, loyal, and one-of-a-kind little sweetie pie Chihuahuas. Please consider subscribing to my channel to learn all you need to know about your Chihuahuas and to get alerts. Click on the little bell so you can be notified of new videos in the future. I try to stick to a production schedule of 2 videos per week, one about my cute, lovable babies, and 1 video that's more informational. I try to respond to all the comments and questions, so please keep them coming. I recently got a question from one of my viewers, AMBER LITHA. Is that how you say it? She wants to know, why do Chihuahuas shake so much? So Bruce and I are going to take a stab at answering that question. Bruce, do you shake? So that is a great question, Amber, and there are a lot of people that are very curious about this. Keep in mind that there are other dog breeds that also shake, not just Chihuahuas. But Chihuahuas do have a well-earned reputation for being a little bit shaky. Did you ever see Beverly Hills Chihuahua? We shake because we are Chihuahua! But the fact of the matter is, a lot of small dog breeds are predisposed to shaking. So it's mostly normal for small dog breeds to shake, and it's really not anything that you should be alarmed about. However, there is a possibility that your dog's shaking could be a sign of a health problem such as low blood sugar or a liver problem, which really needs to be ruled out. If your Chihuahua normally does not shake and then all of a sudden they start shaking, that's really when you might want to pay attention to something like that. Low blood sugar is actually pretty common in small dog breeds because they don't really carry that much energy on their small frame to sustain them for long time spans. It's really important if you own a small dog to know the signs and symptoms of low blood sugar. And remember that it is potentially deadly. So you have to know about it and you have to know how to treat it real quickly. And surprisingly, a lot of veterinarians don't really know the signs and symptoms, or maybe they do, but they just prefer to do a bunch of tests and get a bunch of money. I'm not sure. All Using a product called NutriCal can be a lifesaver, and I definitely recommend that all small dog breed owners keep NutriCal on hand at all times. Is there gonna be a link? Here, up here. So watch my video on hypoglycemia by clicking the link up here. Low blood sugar is pretty normal not normal. So there are usually other signs that go along with hypoglycemia, such as lethargy and low energy, and sometimes they even look like they're having a seizure. And seriously guys, having a tube of NutriCal on hand is a lifesaver at that point. Sometimes you just need a little dollop of it, and within a few minutes, your puppy will be back up and acting normal. So besides low blood sugar, a shaky Chihuahua could be running a fever. A fever for a Chihuahua would be around 102 or 103 or even maybe higher. Dogs run a slightly higher temperature than humans anyways. Normal for a dog would be around 100.5 all the way up to 102 degrees Fahrenheit, or approximately 38 to 39 degrees Celsius. Who uses Celsius? I don't know. I use Fahrenheit. So fevers are kind of scary. Once your dog gets all the way up to about 106, you can start having organ failure, and that's like not something that you want. I like to use a rectal thermometer to measure their weight. No, it's not their weight. I like to use a rectal thermometer. I mean, like, I don't really like it, but it only takes 8 seconds to take their temperature and make sure that they don't have a fever. That might be a topic for another video. But if you do ever find your usually not shaky Chihuahua being shaky and you take their temperature and it's a fever, then you probably should get to the vet. But if we're just talking about the common phenomenon that a lot of people are familiar with, just a generally shaky Chihuahua, well, that's actually pretty normal and it's not out of the ordinary, and it's really nothing to be alarmed about. So the question is why? And there's a lot of different answers to that. First of all, your Chihuahua might just be cold. So you might have noticed that Chihuahuas are pretty small. To be exact, they are the smallest dog breed. And most of them don't have a lot of body fat to keep them warm. They lose body temperature very quickly, especially the smooth coats. Now Bruce here is a long coat, so he can handle a little bit more cold than a smooth coat, but even he gets cold sometimes. Chihuahuas were bred in Chihuahua, Mexico, and it's pretty warm there. Also keep in mind that Chihuahuas were bred to be lap dogs. I mean, they literally are like a hot water bottle. I want to keep him warm and he wants to keep me warm. It's a win-win. They really just enjoy sitting and luxuriating in our laps. And that's okay, because that's what we want them to do. So they might get cold from all that laying around. And shivering is one way to generate body heat, but it also takes energy, so that can be a vicious cycle as far as hypoglycemia. You might have noticed your Chihuahua finding a little patch of sunlight and sitting there warming themselves. Mine do that all the time. So make sure to keep your Chihuahua warm, and you can do that by holding them all the time and also by putting cute sweaters on them. If you find them shivering in the morning, it just might be too cold for them, and maybe it's time to have a little cuddle on the couch. I know it's a tough job, but someone has to do it. So another reason that Chihuahuas shake is because of nerves. Chihuahuas do have a nervous disposition, But please don't confuse that with being afraid. Chihuahuas really are mighty mites, and I don't think they even know that they're small. But because they are small, they do have to be on alert at all times because, let's face it, pretty much any other dog could get the better of them. So they have to be on high alert. And they do need to be on guard so that they can protect their people from like the mailman and leaves blowing. Unfortunately, among many people, Chihuahuas have a reputation of being kind of yappy dogs, which might be a sign of their nervousness. Think of it this way. Sometimes when you're nervous, you sit there and kind of jiggle, or you might like play with your hair a lot. So nerves do kind of give us nervous energy. So how can you help your little Chihuahua from being nervous? Well, first of all, you have to make sure that you always have a calming presence for your sweetie pie. You can hold them and pet them and let them know that everything's okay. After all, you are the pack leader, and they really will kind of reflect your own energy. I'm a true believer that dogs look at their owner, they can read body language, that's how they talk after all, and they're gonna pick up on the way that you feel and the way that you behave. Believe it or not, another thing that helps to calm their nerves is to put them into their crate. Putting a dog into a crate is not a punishment. It should never be treated as such because crates are like a den and they actually like their den. It makes them feel safe and secure. So if your Chihuahua is showing a lot of nerves, sometimes it might be best to go ahead and put them calmly in their crate and tell them everything's okay. Bushy bush, are you nervous? You can also check out anxiety vests, which are supposed to have like a calming effect on your dog. I have admittedly never tried them before. That's an idea for a future video. So finally, if strangers come to the door and your Chihuahua is a little nervous of strangers, make sure to be an example of calm, assertive energy to your Chihuahua because they will follow your example. So another reason that Chihuahuas might shake is just because of their energy. Chihuahuas do have a lot of high alert energy. So as a result of that high alert energy, they actually have a really fast metabolism. You might notice that they seem a little more jittery 20 to 30 minutes after eating. That food that they just ate is turning into energy on their ultra fast metabolism. Sometimes Chihuahuas simply buzz from all that energy. But again, do be watchful for low blood sugar levels because what goes up quickly can also go down very quickly. That's why I actually suggest free feeding your Chihuahuas, which is basically just allowing them to have free access to their food at all times so that they can kind of eat a little bit here and a little bit there instead of eating a lot and then nothing for hours. You can watch my video on free feeding by clicking the link here. Other breeds might gain weight and become overweight by free feeding, but Chihuahuas need a lot of constant energy, so I haven't had a problem with mine becoming fat when I free feed them. It is a breed-specific issue with Chihuahuas and some other small breeds. So as you can see, Chihuahuas shake for a number of reasons, having to do with cold, nerves, and metabolism. And what can we do about this? First thing to consider is that it's really just not a problem. You just gotta get used to it. If you have a Chihuahua and your Chihuahua shakes, that's okay. You can love them anyways. Of course, if they're cold, you wanna warm them up, hold them in your lap, put a sweater on them. That's all fun stuff anyways. If you don't have a sweater that fits your baby, you can watch my video on making a sweater out of a sock by clicking the link here. So if her trembling is due to nerves, make sure that you're always presenting a calm and assertive presence around your Chihuahua. If the doorbell rings, get up and quietly and calmly walk to the door and make sure that your Chihuahua is behind you. If you want more information on that, watch my video by clicking the link here. Make sure you don't let your Chihuahua run ahead of you to bark at the strangers because that's one of the things that they will sometimes get as a bad habit. Remember that you're the pack leader and your Chihuahua is going to follow your example. I do, however, want to talk about something really quickly, which I plan to do a whole video on in the future. Because of the way the Chihuahuas were bred, they do require a lot of socialization. They were bred to be lap dogs, they're extremely loyal to their person, and if they're held too much or if they're not socialized correctly, they can turn into that yappy, high energy, annoying dog that Chihuahuas unfortunately kind of have a reputation for. But that's not the dog's fault, that is their person's fault. I'm just gonna say it. If you socialize your Chihuahua right, they will not be a yappy, bratty dog. So some of you guys might have heard that the two most common breeds found in shelters are Pit Bulls, number 1, and Chihuahuas, number 2. And that is a true fact, and it's very sad. But unfortunately, that is not the dog breed's fault at all. That is totally humans' fault. If a Chihuahua or a Pit Bull is not socialized properly, they will end up with a very bad disposition that's very difficult to maintain as a pet, and they probably will end up in a shelter. And it's very sad, and again, it's not the dog's fault, it's the human's fault. So it's really important that we socialize them correctly from a very young age, and if we don't, well then shame on us. So there you have it. If you'd like to learn more about your Chihuahua, consider subscribing to my channel and getting alerts by clicking on the bell. My goal is to produce 2 videos per week, one that's more of an informational video and one that's just like of cute, adorable Chihuahuas because everyone wants to see those. Learning and having fun at the same time. Thanks so much, guys. This is Kelly Swift, and I will see you next time on Sweetie Pie Pets. Hi, oh gosh. And this is my channel all about my